Look, I didn't really enjoy my high school prom, okay? My senior year was not a very good time in my life. My dad's cancer came back. I was mentally ill. I'm not so good with crowds and loud noises. Like, all these things combined meant that prom was really not for me. In fact, I actually had a panic attack and left early. But that's me, okay? That's real life. But now we've got prom in The Sims with the new high school pack. And so I was thinking today we could try and renovate the new prom space to make it like a little bit upgraded. By the way, I'm recording this video like way before I'm actually going to post it. So thank you to the EA Creator Network for giving us early access to this pack, like super early access to this pack. I'm filming this on July 8th, which is why we still have that like super early access build with the no gallery and the watermark and stuff. I'm sure at this point you've probably gotten used to it in my videos, but I just wanted to give that disclaimer. And you know what? I think one of the things that surprised me the most about this pack that I've really enjoyed is that new Auditorium lot type. This is a special lot that goes along with the high school, and it's where all the events take place, like the prom, the graduation, the career day, all that stuff. It's kind of cool because by default, this is just like a big empty space, like an empty venue basically, but you can actually switch it to all the different events. It kind of works like Eco Lifestyle. If you've played with that pack, there's like these sort of dynamic lots that you can do that can change from like community spaces to maker spaces to like little market stuff. And then you can edit each of those versions of the lot and all versions will save to the gallery. Now, I'm not actually sure if all 4 of these lot versions will save to the gallery with the lot because I can't access the gallery to test it. It's kind of weird. I've got this weird version of the game, like a second Sims added into my origin library. And this one's got a couple quirks like the watermark and the no gallery access and stuff like that. So I'll test it once the pack actually comes out, but I assume it would work the same way that Eco Lifestyle does, right? Because it's the same UI. And so with this, on prom day, when your sim comes here, it's gonna be with this version of the lot. It'll have the formal dance setup. And so right now, we should be able to edit this, and then when our sim comes back here, it'll have this version appear. Same thing with graduation. This is the default, but if we like adjust this and add more, when our sim comes back for graduation, it should show up in the new version, which is quite cool. But today, my goal is mostly just prom. I'm really excited to kind of mess with the prom setup. I won't lie, I actually quite like this prom setup. Like, I don't hate it. There is one thing that I hate, and it's that this thing is not lined up the same. I won't lie. That part really bothers me. These two things were like slightly off from each other, and it kind of made me want to cry, but it's fixed now. It's fine. This is also slightly weird, but I don't think I'm gonna change it. There's a significant amount of chicken at the prom. I don't know why, but when you load into the prom, so far I've been to 2 proms, and both times, and it looks like on the regular venue version as well, there's like 15 roast chickens just out. I'm not even sure 15 Sims come to prom, let alone enough people to eat 15 entire roast chickens. And there's like no other food options. What am I supposed to eat? The juice? Like, that's all that's there for me. It's actually kind of funny, but it's very weird. It makes me wonder if it was on purpose, because I feel like you can't just have 15 chickens by accident, right? I don't know. But either way, I want to try and do some slight renovations to this building. There's a couple kind of cool items. I don't know if I actually want to use this or not, but there's like these kind of cool curtains. And I was thinking maybe we could try and like line those along some of the walls. I do like these little star things, but the curtains also fit pretty well. And I thought maybe that would be an interesting touch to have like some more fabric or something on the wall. I don't know. I feel like you see this kind of thing at events. I've only been to 1 prom in my life, and I wasn't really paying much attention to the decor. So maybe I'm wrong, but I do think this would look nice. I'm also thinking about like screenshots, and I think that would be pretty good for the pictures as well. Something else that I noticed that I think you'll probably enjoy is that your Sims can woohoo in the photo booth. So obviously you can take pictures in the photo booth, but also if you so desire, oh my god, I did it again. But also if you so desire, your Sims can in fact woohoo in the photo booth. So there is a woohoo spot at this lot as well. Oh, it sort of bothers me how that door is not centered. I didn't really think about that. Okay. Oh boy. Let me just see how these curtains place, and then we can revisit this problem. Oh yeah, that's really annoying. All right. I can move the door for just one version of the lot, right? And that would be fine. Like if the door was just there on this one version, and then when you switch it back to Auditorium, the door is going to be in a different spot, and that's a little bit weird, but that's not my problem, because in this version, it's slightly to the right, and no one's going to notice. Like, no one's going to realize. Okay, it also seems like they've kind of gone for this like black and gold and I guess red color scheme. I haven't really looked. Oh, that's annoying. That plant wasn't centered. I haven't really looked at like all of the other table options, but to be perfectly honest with you, I feel like maybe the black and gold is the best option. I don't know. I don't really want to go for like a totally different vibe. I guess we could go for like a more pastel sort of look. It's just that like this swatch is kind of like kid's birthday party, as is that one. So if we're gonna do this, our options are kind of like purple, gray, white. So the gray might be the best bet for the curtains. And also this thing has like the red accents. Maybe red is good. Maybe the red and gold and black is good. Perhaps they had the right idea. Okay, and in my prom gameplay, I've also kind of noticed that the Sims really do sit in the chairs around the place. Like a lot of Sims were sitting in these chairs watching the dancing. Not many people were sitting at the tables. I think that might have to do with the fact that there's like big flowers on the tables, so they can't eat there properly with the tables full, I suppose. But they were actually sitting in the chairs, so I think it's definitely worth it to put some chairs kind of around the place in this area. Oh, you know what? I really would like to have all 4 chairs on these tables. Maybe I'll do like none of this rug business. We can keep the couches because I think the couches are kind of cool. I guess at least to have somewhere, but I kind of want to get like maybe 1 or 2 more tables. At my prom, they had like, I guess this is kind of a weird style, like the shape of this building, because we didn't have a stage or anything because it was in like a hotel, in like a big room in the hotel, but they had like the dance floor section in the middle, and then picture if they had just like big round tables like lined up down all the sides back here, and then like another row in the middle. They were all in a row, so these like kind of just being placed around is kind of odd to me, so maybe we should switch that. I guess we could probably have like all the piles of chicken there, and then I guess we could do those like rows of tables that I'm talking about. I really can't tell if this is weird or not. I'm not sure. I do think it is a little bit weird. Okay, new plan. What if the tables are on either side and the chicken's in the middle? Okay, tables like that. I don't like them. I just don't like it. I'm not really sure what to do about this. Something else kind of weird is that to vote, they have to use like both sides of this item. So it kind of needs to be like in a easily accessible space, I guess. This is actually really weird. I feel like I didn't think this through enough. Like I kind of came in here overconfident about how I could save the prom. And then now that I'm actually doing it, I'm like, oh, maybe it was actually pretty good before I came in here and messed with it. Maybe it was fine. Okay, if the tables are spread out a little bit more, is that better? We can definitely keep this photo booth back here. Is that fine, like up against the wall, or does it clip? I think it'll still be fine. Maybe we swap it and we have this thing back here and the photo booth like in this area? No, maybe I move the door over. I feel like the door makes more sense over here anyway, like directly underneath the window. Why wasn't it like that originally? Isn't that weird? We put the photo booth like there, and then we can have maybe like a couple plants on either side of this thing. People probably aren't going to use that door anyway, right? It's fine. Okay, and then maybe we can have the voting board like kind of in the middle over here, and then your Sims can access both sides of that pretty easily. Question for you in the comments: did your school have like a prom court? And also, how did you vote for the prom court? Because looking back on this, I have no memory of that. Like I honestly could not tell you how we voted or if I voted. Maybe I just didn't, and that's why I don't remember, but I don't know how it worked. I have literally no clue. Not a clue in my mind how that prom court stuff worked. I don't even know who won. I guess I don't really care about that stuff, and I never did care about that stuff, so it makes sense that I wouldn't remember, but like, it is kind of funny looking back on that and being like, huh, I have such little memory of that whole thing. I remember the guy's crown fell off when he was dancing. Like, they did like a slow dance, just the 2 of them, and the guy's crown fell off. But I don't know who it was or anything else about it. Should we put like a balloon arch outside so that when you walk up and you go into the front doors, you'll get like some pizzazz? Or is that weird? I don't think that's weird. It seems like a reasonable decoration the high school would put out. I actually don't know what to do. I'm just staring at this and having like literally no idea what I'm going for. I really am stuck. I think we need some more decorations up here, but I'm not sure like how much is too much. I've kind of been putting these plants around, so maybe putting like one of the plants on either side would be good. I know that this isn't like super formal fancy decor, but I do think that the school would have like some banners and things in the auditorium like this. Oh, is there a prom version of this event banner? No! Okay, there's cheer competition, chess, football, video games, and then career day, but there's no prom? Oh, maybe the high school logo could be good, like up above that. I might get a couple like wall lights too. They've obviously changed the lighting color of this, but I'm realizing now, I don't know if I can do that. Let me show you. I'll bring a sim here. I don't know if I can edit the lighting color without prom being like currently active, because it switches back to to the default, obviously, when there's no active event. And then if I try and change it, I'm pretty sure if I go into, if I try and go back into live mode, it switches back to the default. Yeah, so you can't change the lighting color because I can't change the lighting color in build mode. So I can't edit this. Why can't I change the light color in build mode? I would like to keep the purple lighting. Like, I think it looks cool. I'm not complaining about that part. I wish that I could add to it. Like, I wish that I could do more for it. Oh, wait a minute. That could be interesting. I don't know how to make it be, like, it doesn't touch the ground. I would rather it touch the ground. Like, I could hang it off the wall, but I want it to, like, okay. Well, that's a flop. This is kind of embarrassing to admit, but at my prom, I just sat at the table the whole time and just like watched what was going on, basically. I had fun doing that. I don't want to dance. I've never been the type to want to dance. That is not for me. I might actually get rid of that door. I don't know. I'm sorry. I feel like it's better without it. But I've never been the type to like want to dance at this sort of thing. It makes me nervous and uncomfortable. Like even at weddings, when I've been to my cousin's weddings recently and stuff, like I would like to just sit at the table and watch. I'll enjoy watching. Like I'll sit right here. I'll watch you all on the dance floor. I'll have fun. Don't worry. The bonus is that at my cousin's weddings, I can just sit with my grandma. And then it's like I've got an excuse because, oh, I'm sitting with grandma, you know? I don't want to dance. I've never wanted to dance. That's just not for me. It's not my thing. And now that I think about it, do you think we could do something better for the dance floor? Okay, what are our thoughts on trying to make like a more custom dance floor like this? Obviously, we don't have actual dance floors because they're not in this pack, but that kind of looks like them. Oh, and that has that kind of black and white vibe. I think that's actually a lot better. I think that's really cool. Maybe we could make this thing white. Oh, and then we could have the photo booth be all black. And then the accents could be red and gold, but like it'll be more of an accent than anything else. It won't be as like obvious, I guess. I guess we could always do the white on the tables, or is that blue? Oh, I think that's blue. Never mind. Sorry, everyone. That was a false alarm. I don't think I want it to be blue. I don't know if I'm going for that. Is the white okay, or was the red better? I think I like the color of the red better. I also like the color of that teal, but we don't have anything that matches that on these tables. I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, it's a high school prom. Does it have to match? I don't think so. I don't think it's that deep. Well, you know what? Let's just do it then. Again, who cares if it matches? It's prom in The Sims. It's kind of interesting because, like, I actually am pretty impressed by the layout of all of these lots. Like, this is the graduation one. Obviously, it's not, like, super full or anything, but that's fine. EA built these. Like, this was done by the Sims team. And I think this is really reasonable. Like, I think this is perfectly fine for gameplay. Same thing with the career day. I think this one is probably the most empty, as you can see. In the actual gameplay of this, there's just, like, 3 Sims that come stand here, and then you just talk to them. I guess we could probably add in like a couple items. And this is the thing, right? They probably wouldn't have that fancy curtain item that the other ones did. Like there's probably a reason they didn't hang this one up for career day. Like this isn't the most career day like item. Maybe I'll just give them a couple extra lights. You know what? I might do that for the graduation too. I think this about like every Sims build. I just want them to be a little bit brighter. I think the prom is probably okay because the prom is sort of supposed to be a little bit darker because it's like a nighttime party. But overall, I think I'm just pretty impressed with how this gameplay functions. Like, I guess I just wasn't really expecting a lot like this from this pack, and that's why I'm so impressed by it, because I don't really know what I was expecting, but I think when I pictured, like, prom and stuff, I sort of envisioned maybe some sort of combination of, like, that Get Famous lot that we had where you do the acting career, and also maybe, like, the City Living Festivals a little bit. Like, I didn't really anticipate being able to edit these things very much. I know they had kind of teased that we could, like, plan and design prom a little bit, but I didn't really expect it to be in this way, and I really like how this is done. I say as I just press the button and it kicks me back out of this. But overall, I think that this high school area, this is my high school, I built this, sorry. But overall, I think that this high school area is quite cool. And I like the idea of the 2 lots right next to each other. That seems pretty realistic to me. I think in my actual like regular gameplay, I might deck out the like plain version, the normal auditorium version with some cheer mats. There's not really any places for the cheerleaders to practice right now at the high school. And I sort of like the idea of them coming to this building after school and like rolling out the mats and then practicing and rolling them back up. Like that to me seems really realistic. Obviously, you'd probably have your Sim show up here alone if you did that, but I think I might do that in my own gameplay. Now, I think on that note, I'm probably gonna end this video right here. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you're enjoying seeing high school content and more stuff about this pack, I have posted a lot of videos playing with it, so I can link some down below, but also feel free to subscribe so you don't miss the future ones. I cannot wait for you to get your hands on this pack. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun playing with it. So with that all being said, I'm gonna go and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody. I have had the most fun just like setting all this stuff up for my Sims. Like just micromanaging prom and like adjusting their classrooms. Everything about that has been so much fun for me. I am so glad that we can edit these things.